your guys getting into a rhythm now, getting some guys back from injury?
Yeah, it was good to have some of the guys back in the roles that they were able to play on Saturday. And, we missed them for a couple weeks, but, in terms of the silver lining, you got Bam Brima, some experience that, you can't get back, which is great. Nakai, some of those guys, Elliott got reps. The last series a couple weeks ago, you're looking at Dorian Ford out there and Sam Williams and some guys that's experience that'll pay off down the road for sure. But it's good to have the troops coming back.
What was your group able to learn from, facing? I know you guys faced Jeff Sims before, but still in action where an athletic guy is able to extend some plays.
Well, we went into it with a tremendous amount of respect and walked out of the game with the same amount of respect. We knew how fast he was, how hard he was to bring down. He's a tremendous athlete. We knew that, obviously they were going through a lot last week. We knew they were going to come in with a clean slate, so to speak, and play really hard. And, at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that I think we're proud of for 3.5 quarters. We got to finish the game defensively. And, that's at the end of the day, the biggest goal we have this week is to make sure we're 4 full quarters.
Charlie, to that point, what didn't allow you to finish? What did you see on tape?
I think it was honestly what was happening was there were some guys that were trying to do more than their job. There was guys that were trying to make a play that wasn't necessarily their play. There's 3 or 4 plays in that final touchdown drive, or the second to last one, where I can see, I'm not going to point guys out and throw guys under the bus individually, but there's a few guys that went outside their job, and when that starts to happen on defense, no matter what your system is, you're going to get in trouble, and that's what got us there in the end, was the anxiety of the situation created where guys were going outside their job to make a play. Not a lack of effort, really just a lack of staying in their lane, so to speak.
Yesterday, Coach Narduzzi said that perhaps the team was trying to do too much against Georgia Tech. Was it a case of that?
It really was, and we all have our perspectives. And my application of that statement would be exactly that. That had a few guys, and obviously that's the vantage point I'm speaking from. It was the D-line perspective. We had a few guys just trying to do a little too much, and that led to some breakdowns.
How's Kalijah? How are teams attacking Kalijah this year? Maybe differently.
He's dealing with a lot of double teams. I'll tell you what's fun right now is Haba and Dez, while they're not, and John, while they're not getting the stats that everyone wants, man. They're getting pressure on the quarterback and pushing them up, and David Green is showing up as well with some production and other guys. So it's hard to hold on to those double teams with Kalijah forever, but you're getting a lot of the slide protections to him, a lot of the double teams on run to him. But Kalijah's playing, as you can see, at a high level.
How's he handling that? Does he understand, hey, if there's 2 guys on me, that means somebody else has one-on-one or might even be free?
He does. And, the thing about Kalijah that you love is he's doing everything he can to learn how to defeat double teams, how to defeat when protection is slid his way, and he's had some success doing that.
How's Haba grown this year? You don't see as many numbers so far, like what you're saying, but he is out there working. He's dealt with some injuries. What have you seen from him?
Well, that's the biggest thing, right? He missed a couple games there. We're 5 games in. I think he missed 2.5, somewhere in there. So he's frustrated. Obviously, he wants to produce like every player out there on the field, but he's handling it like a professional, playing hard, and he's producing. We're just not seeing the sack numbers that he wants and that we would like to see on his behalf. But the thing I like about Haba is he's one of those guys that's staying in his lane, doing his job, and not trying to force anything, which is hard to do.
Is he, I've seen him, in practices kind of like take charge in moments and just be like, like times when Dayon, he was like, hey, let's do this together. In the moment when those things are happening, is he a guy that you're seeing kind of trying to remind people of like, hey, stay on the task, let's trust each other and play out there?
Without a doubt. I think we're all adults standing here. I think the more you invest in something, the more it means to you. And so in those moments, you're going to speak up. And Haba's fully invested. The time that he's put in, the time he continues to put in. So when things aren't going exactly the way we want, he speaks up on behalf of the whole group and really does a great job of being a strong leader, not worrying if someone likes what he says. He doesn't care. He's going to say what needs to be said, and if they like him, they'll like him down the road. And I love that maturity about Haba.
What kind of things does he say?
He just corrects whatever it is. It's not like he has a staple phrase to go back to. He just gets corrected whatever needs to be corrected and moves on. And he says it with passion.
You mentioned Bam earlier. He's playing more than he ever has. How have you seen him grow with the experience that he's getting?
The thing that I like about Haba, I've cross-trained him inside and outside, and I think some of that inside training is paying off in how he's playing outside. And this Des went through this. Dez was cross-trained early in his career, and as he went back outside, he's so much more physical than he was prior to the inside training. When you're an interior D lineman, you have no choice, but you're dealing with double teams, and you better learn how to strike and play with technique. And then you put him back outside on the edge, and you see him now using his length. I think he needed to go through that growing pain to be able to take advantage of some of the things that he's been blessed with.
Virginia Tech gives up, I think, the third fewest sacks in the conference right now. What do you guys have to do to trick that offensive line and get to that quarterback?
Yeah, I think a couple things is we got to get to him quick. He does a great job of getting rid of the ball. You can tell that they put a premium on him not taking a sack. He's going to get rid of it quick. And we got to do some things within the structure of the back end where he doesn't know what the coverage is, so he just clutches onto it for that extra fraction of a second to give us a chance to get there.
Charlie, you've been a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Why are schools finding it so easy to fire head coaches so early in the season?
Yeah, it's a trend that we certainly don't like to see because there's this we pour into the kids pour into us, and you hate to see someone give up on the season, so to speak. The flip side of it, I think the part you understand is everything is accelerated from a recruiting standpoint. When you have the early signing date, and I won't give you too long of a history lesson, but everything is sped up with technology, just like all these phones that we're holding, right? There used to be 1,000 microphones here, and now I'm getting on a soapbox, and forgive me, but when I started, you handed a guy a videotape, you hope to get it back in 5 days. Then DVDs came. I'm talking about the recruiting trail. Then they could burn 10 at a time. That accelerated recruiting, and now the kids can send their highlights the night of their game. So evaluations have accelerated, recruiting staffs have exploded. You have an early signing date. So I think the biggest concern is, one, between the portal and the early signing date, my bet is that this is happening because roster management. So we understand why you hate to see it in the profession, but it's just professions change. Your guys' professions have completely changed in the last 10 years. When was the last time you read a hard copy of a newspaper?
Been a while.
Sunday.
Right, well, good, awesome, right? You know what I'm saying though, guys? I mean, your lives have changed, our lives change. You figure out the new landscape and take advantage of it and learn.
Being a head coach.
To go off that landscape, when you see, head coaches at Power 5 programs leaving, do you look at that as an opportunity to find some new players in the portal from schools like Nebraska or Georgia Tech?
I think you're really working to manage your own roster and see where you may have holes, and kind of look at it from that vantage point more than anything, internal out. And then you're always, in today's day and age, you're keeping an eye on kids that go into the portal. Technically they're not allowed to go into the portal right now. The kids are announcing that they're going to go into the portal. You can't really do much with that from a legal standpoint, but you certainly make a note, hey, when this kid goes in, if you have a hole in that spot, then you'd be negligent if you didn't pay attention to those things and make sure you're managing your own roster in the right way.
Being a head coach.
Sorry, I'll look this way next.
Jerry, come on.
I'm sorry.
Jerry and then Will, and then we got to wrap.
All right, I'm sorry. Being a head coach has to be such a difficult job these days when a good guy like Paul Chris gets fired. Do you ever think you'd like to get back into that cauldron?
Honestly, I love where I'm at. I love what I'm doing right now. I love these kids, and Chris is laughing because I'm giving the rope answer. But I do. I love it here. My kids love it here. We're in an amazing school district. I couldn't be happier where I'm at, and I just want to help these kids make plays, Jerry. That's my focus.
I'll do what Mike was going to do. I'll ask you about Kenny. Looks like he's going to play this weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, he came in as a gray shirt, right? I mean, is that right?
I think he was an early grad.
Early
grad,
enrollment,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
early grad, yep. It's
And,
okay.
I mean, and he's running scout team. He's buried on the depth chart as a freshman. He's starting May end of the year. What did you see in those? What are your memories of that first time?
Just that his competitive nature going against our scout team. We aren't afraid to hit the quarterback on the scout team because we're training our guys how to bend and turn corners and reach for arms. And Kenny almost loved it. It's like he thrived on the contact. You guys all saw the clip of him getting hit on Sunday, and he got up laughing, talking at the guy. And